In this tutorial we're going to look at gradients. Gradient is a blend from one colour or tone to another colour or tone. The example on the bird here is a dark tone of pink with a linear gradient to a light tone of pink. The flower has a radial gradient. In the centre it is a light tone of grey, on the outside it is a dark tone of grey. In order to do this task, we need to open a couple of panels: Window, Swatches, and Window, Gradient. Now I'm just going to drag the gradient panel by the word gradient and snap it, indicated by the blue line, onto my swatches. So when I move one, it moves the other in conjunction. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit onto this area. First of all, I want to change or give a gradient to the bird. So I'm going to select my bird. It's indicating to me in the swatch fill area that this bird has a green fill. I'm going to take a dark tone of pink and drag and drop it onto one end of the gradient bar, and I'm going to drag and drop the light pink and drop it onto the other end of the gradient bar. Now at the moment it's a radial blend. You can see it's light in the middle, so I'm just going to change it to a linear blend. Now that's going from the right dark tone to the left. I want to change the angle, so I'm going to alter it to 90 degrees. Now it's going vertically, except it's the wrong way around. I want it to be dark pink on the bottom. Well, instead of remixing my gradient, I can just simply press this reverse gradient button, and when I press it, my bird has now changed this correct gradient. I'm going to select this bird, and because I've already mixed that gradient, I can select it from here. So I just click and it applies it. I'm just going to change to 90 degrees, and that one's correct. Now, just like we did with the Adobe Cooler task, I can drag this gradient now that I've mixed into my swatches panel to save it for later. I'm now going to create a gradient on the flower, so I'm going to select my flower, and I'm going to use these two greys. I'm going to drag the dark grey to one end and drag the light grey to the other end. Now one of the things to watch out for is if I were to drop my grey round here, not on the end, it actually adds another colour. So you can see I've still got pink on the edge here because it's matching my gradient bar, going from dark grey to light grey to pink. Well, that's not a problem, but I don't want this pink on here, so I'm going to drag it off, and I'm going to then move this to the end so I get a nice smooth gradient. The last thing I need to do is change it to a radial gradient, because at the moment it's a linear gradient. So just with it selected, change to radial, and there is my flower. Now again, if I select this green flower, it remembers the last gradient I mixed, so I can just apply it. And again, I want to save this gradient, so I'm going to drag it to my swatches as a radial gradient to save for later. There we have it. I've created or recreated the pattern swatch with gradients.